There are fears a housing bubble in the world's second biggest economy could burst. Home construction in China has been taking place at a breakneck pace, sometimes in spite of the government's best efforts to rein in the building boom. As Paul Johnson tells us from Beijing, in some places so many homes have been built, there simply aren't enough people to fill them.
This is the city of Ordos in China's northern province of Inner Mongolia. Look closely here. Where, you may wonder, are the crowded streets and full buildings that are the hallmark of the world's most populous country? You don't see them because hardly anyone actually lives here in the Kangbashi district of Ordos. Built to house over 1 million people, it's currently home to only 30,000 right now. Outside of Shanghai and Beijing, if you travel through China's dozens of so-called second-tier cities, the skylines are dominated by the sight of huge, empty, and in many cases unfinished apartment blocks. The end of a decade-long boom in housing construction, the biggest the world has ever seen.
Experts are still trying to decide if this was a brilliant plan to spur growth and create new housing, or possibly one of the biggest misallocations of resources in history.
When the U.S. property bubble popped in 2008, it triggered a global financial crisis that is still being felt. Analysts believe that in China right now, there may be more than 60 million empty apartments, raising troubling questions about the consequences of a property meltdown.
Well, the consequences are that consumers, a large portion of consumers are simply going to see their savings destroyed.
China's new middle class, families that in many cases have sunk their life savings into property investments. The world economy and countries like Canada that sell raw materials to China are counting on them to be the next big market. A market that could look different if they're coping with their first ever housing boom gone bust. Paul Johnson, Global News, Beijing.